looking into the crystal ball is, of course, a risky proposition, right? Like, I think most of the predictions that the pundits make, like towards the beginning of the year of what's going to happen, by the end of the year, you see like all that thing is out the window. So as of now, you're right. It does appear that AI is here to stay, and it is a formidable force, right? It is a force for good. It is something that the way I like to look at it is with AI helping product marketers, things that perhaps took months now take weeks. Things that took weeks now take days. Maybe things that took days now take hours, right? So it's like a time machine. It helps us like zoom into the future and get things done quicker. So that is definitely the positive side of AI. Of course, AI can also be not, it's not foolproof, right? So you can't just like throw something in there and have it spit something out and run with it. That may be at your own peril. Because one of the challenges, because AI is so good, is it seems so believable. Oh, yeah, this makes total sense until you spend a little time thinking about it and you realize, no, man, I got to do this whole thing myself. So a lot of pitfalls, of course, definitely watch out for AI. Unfortunately, AI will also mean that companies will be able to do more with less, and we're already seeing some of that with companies like trying to one up each other in terms of layoffs, and so unfortunately, I think that will be a reality, which is where I think the more creative and the more entrepreneurial we are in running our own businesses, and kudos to you guys, right? Like with AssetMule, you're taking the future into your own hands. You're taking the bull by the reins, right? So I think that will be the way to go. Another trend that I see is I like to say that the future is fractional. A lot of people may find that they don't need to, or companies, for example, they may not need like a full time product marketer, right? They may just need a fractional product marketer, and it may be episodic when they have, let's say a number of product launches and strategy to figure out, they may need more. And then there may be times of where they don't need as much, while other companies may be launching stuff, right? So others may need more. So as part of this trend of taking the future into our own hands, I think the more we embrace fractional working, the better, right? Because it's always like not one company is going to be super intense all the time, but if we serve multiple clients, we'll be able to have a pretty decent workload that we can handle, and we'll be able to help the companies prosper as well. So anyway, those are some of my thoughts as I look into my crystal ball for AI and product marketing.
Excellent. Justin, why don't you take us home?
Yeah, I'll start in a different area and then I'll back into AI. One big trend that we're really interested in and we're seeing is when it comes to the buyer's journey is buyer enablement, right? I think the last decade or so has really been focused on sales enablement. How can we enable the salesperson to sell more effectively? But we're seeing some really interesting trends on how buyers are approaching their purchasing processes. For instance, over 80% of the sales process or the buying process now happens without a salesperson in the room, right? At the same time, there's more stakeholders than ever before that are involved in a sales process. I think on average, there's like 11 stakeholders involved in a purchasing decision. And a lot more people also don't want salespeople involved, or they want a seller-free environment, right? I think that I saw a stat that said 33% of buyers want a seller-free environment. So the big question is, how do sales reps continue to influence their sales process, which is very closely tied to their commission and their earnings, in a world where they're not involved in the majority of the purchasing process? And I think the answer there is buyer enablement. And what do I mean by buyer enablement? It's giving the buyer the information that they need when they need it to be able to make a purchasing decision, right? And this is really where AI comes into play, I think, is if you're giving buyers the information that they need when they need it, you're going to have a lot more iterations or versions of an asset than we do today, right? It's going to be a lot more personalized. So being able to surface the right micro bits of content within an asset to speak to that specific buyer based on what they want and what their needs are and what their challenges and their goals are, is something that at scale, that level of personalization at scale is only something that AI can really do, right? So I think that's a really key trend that we're watching very closely and we're intimately involved in. I also think, to Nitin's point, is what this means is that we can do a lot more with less, right? So in the previous world, you would need an entire army of product marketers supporting a sales team to be able to create that level of personalization, right? And now with AI, you can have a lot more solo product marketers or fractional product marketers or small product marketing teams that can support a sales team in developing that level of personalization and really giving each of the buyers the experience that they need and the information they need to make those purchasing decisions. So I think it's going to be a really interesting couple of years ahead, but we're really bullish on both buyer enablement and the way that AI, but also human touch can also play in this world.